Should you be using a research log? Of course, that's a question that only you can answer, but hopefully by the end of this video presentation, you'll not only see the advantages of using a research log to plan out your genealogy research, but you'll also understand how I've used Notion, a desktop productivity tool, to create my own online research log. If you don't know me, my name is Ed Thompson, and I am the creator of Evidentia software, as well as the host of the Genealogy Software Showcase, and I welcome you to this presentation. What I want to do is show you how I created a custom research log online using a productivity tool called Notion. Now, what is a research log? Well, a research log is a tool for you to plan out your research. It can be paper or digital, and there are a lot of templates out there on the internet for different styles of research logs, so it's very easy to find one that works the way that you work. Now, as I mentioned before, there are several excellent resources available about research logs on the internet, and the two primary ones I would point you to are the Family Search Wiki, which includes a nice description of what a research log is and how to use it, and Cindy's List, which provides a resource list of different websites that talk about research logs or provide research log templates. And of course, your current genealogy software, whatever it may help you generate a research log. I've actually done a video on that recently, and I'll include the link below. Now, the other half of our conversation is, what is Notion? Well, Notion is an online productivity tool based on a design principle of pages and tables, or at least those are the two concepts that we're going to focus on in this video series. Notion is free for personal use with some limitations, and I'm going to show you from start to finish how to create your own Notion account, how to create your own Notion pages, and how to create your own Notion tables. And our end result will be a usable research log that you can use on your mobile device or on your desktop. Now, the first thing I want to do is show you the research log that I've created so you can get an idea of what we're going to try and build. What you see here on the screen is my genealogy research log. In it is a table that includes references to my individual research logs. The table provides a title, the creation date of the research log, the current status, which if I pull up here, you can see I can set it to not started, in progress, or completed, and that's for the entire research log. A priority, high, medium, or low, and the name of a person, although you don't have to use it. A research log can be specific to a person, or it can be a general research log for a general research goal. Now, if I hover over one of these rows, let's just look at the first one, you'll see that it invites me to open as a page. So every row in this table is actually its own page. And you see here it has a title, I've assigned medium priority, and I haven't started working on this particular goal yet. There is a description of the goal at the top. In this case, I want to identify and document land records I can use in my research. And you see at the bottom that I have a list of tasks related to this research log. For example, I want to identify land records at American Ancestors. I want to identify land records at Ancestry. I want to identify land records at Family Search, on and on. Each task has its own status, again, not started, in progress, incomplete. And instead of creation date, I focus on the date that I'm actually working on this particular item. If I drill down, if I hover over one of these rows, once again, you'll see even the task is its own page. There's a title, my status, the date I worked at the task, which I'll update later, a description. In this case, my goal of this task is to identify and document the land record databases I can use in my research at Ancestry.com. And then I've got a findings section that I'll populate once I've started researching that task. And it can be a list or a call out or just a text field, whatever you want it to be. So that's a look at my research log. Let's get started showing you how I built it. So the first thing we'll do is go to the website notion.so. Notice that the suffix is .so, not .com. As part of this video, I want to create a new workspace so you can see how it's done. So I'm going to go up here to sign up, and I'm going to give it an email address. Let's go ed@genealogyshowcase.tech. So I don't have .com either. And we'll continue with email. And I get a message indicating that it sent me a temporary passcode. So let me go over to my email account. And you see here I have a Notion code. I can either click on this link or copy and paste this code. I'm going to copy and paste this code. Go back to Notion. You see here there's a place for me to paste my login code. Let me do that. And I'm going to create a new account. It's asking me for my first name. And it's asking me for my last name. And it wants me to set a new password, and I'll use LastPass to generate one for me. LastPass will save the page, and I'll continue. And it asks me if this is a workspace for myself or for a team. Now I'm just going to create one for myself. And voila, it takes me to my own Notion workspace. Rested and refreshed, it's time to make a page. What you see before you is a blank page. And the reason it's there is because you have to have at least one page in your workspace. And what I've done, if you look at the menu on the left-hand side, is I've deleted all the pages. Now, normally I wouldn't do that, but the reason I chose to do that was just so we could see as we go what gets created and what's kind of hiding in the background. Now, what I've done here is I have a home page, which is just meant to be an empty page. What I want to do is create a page for listing out my genealogy research logs. So in this case, there's a couple different ways I can do it. You see that there's a new page button at the bottom. I'm going to just add a page from the menu on the left. And I'm going to give my page a name. So I'm just going to say research logs. Now, when you're creating a page, you can decorate it with an icon, and it will randomly set an icon for you. And the value of the icon is simply to differentiate pages when they show up in the menu. Plus, they look cute. And the other thing that you can do is you can create a banner, or what they call a cover. And when you hit up, I put comments at a cover. And they randomly assign you a cover, but you can change the cover to anything you want. Here's some covers that they provide. You can also upload a cover or link one from another website, or you can go to Unsplash and download a new cover, and that's what I'm going to do. Research log. Let's just type in research and see what comes up here. That looks good. I'll take this one with the glasses. Sounds like a good one for a research log. All right, and I'm ready to go. Now, if you remember back to the research log I showed you, the entry point was a table. So what we are going to do is we're going to come down here and select table. And Notion will automatically create a two-column table for you. The first column is the name, and it's defined as a text field, and that one can't be changed, because that's the one that kind of provides the key to each row in the database. Now, I can change the title, however, and I'm going to say log title. Have that be my first one. The other column that they create for you is for tags, and I use tags sometimes and not others, and I don't care too much about tags for this. So I'm going to change that, and what I'm going to want to do is I want to create a field called create date, and that will capture the date that each row in this table is created. And if I go down here to the property type and scroll all the way to the bottom, you see I can add create time, which includes the date. Next, I'm going to add a status column. So column comes up, it defaults to text, but I'm going to change that. Now, I only want 3 statuses. Either I haven't started it yet, I'm in progress, or I'm done. So I'm going to hit select, and that'll allow me to create a selection drop down. And then I go back, configure options, and the first one will be not started. Now when I hit enter, it'll create the option, and unfortunately it closes the box, and I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or not there. It's still rather new to me, but I can go back into configure options and I can add another one, which would be in progress. And then I'm going to add a third one, which is, just options, which is complete. Now it randomly assigned colors to each of the options, and I'm going to swap this up a little bit. So if I come back into configure options, not started, that let's change that to yellow. In progress always sounds, I'm going to make that blue. And completed, I would have made in progress green, but completed sounds like a green. All right. So I've got a place to store my log title, creation date, a status. I also want a priority. And again, I'm going to choose a drop down for it. Playing type. Change it to a selection box. And I'm going to configure that one with low, medium, and high. So I can assign a priority to my logs. And let's configure them. Let's keep with the same color screen. Low is yellow. Medium's going to be green this time. So medium is green and high is red. Okay. Now some logs that I work with will be general logs. For instance, if I want to research and get a list of databases that I can research from, that would be a general log. And some logs will be for a specific person or persons. So I'm going to go ahead and create another row and ask it who the person is, and that'll just be a text field. So I'm going to leave that as is. And that's looking pretty good. Now, all I have here, though, is a list of research logs. Right now, it's 3 rows. Let me delete the rows. It's just 3 rows that got created for me by Notion when I said, hey, I want a table. And what we'll do here is, if you notice that if I hover over log title, I can open a page. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to open. And lo and behold, what Notion has done is opened a page that represents that row. So this would be, I can look at it as a page. Let's do that. And again, I'm going to add an icon. Sun's good enough for me. And I'm going to add a cover. This time I'm just going to take one of the colored backgrounds here for my color. And then my title. This is one of my research logs. So what do I want to do with this research log? Well, I want to identify land record databases. So what I want to do is I want to go into Ancestry and get a list of land record databases that I need to research in. Then I want to go to American Ancestors and do the same thing, and MyHeritage and do the same thing. So that's good. This is a general log, so I don't need a person for it. We'll make the priority medium, and we'll make the status not started. Now, there's not much here right now, and what I want to do is I want to capture what the objective of this log is, and I want to capture some notes that might help me while I'm researching, and then I want a list of tasks. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, you notice down here, type / for commands. I'll show you how that works. I type / and a whole bunch of different blocks come up. And these are blocks that I can add to my page. And I just want heading 1, and I'm going to say objective. think in mine I called it description, but I like the word objective better. I'll probably go back and change mine. I hit enter, and next what I want the objective to kind of stand out, so I'm going to do a call out. I just type in call and it pops that up, and I want my call out to have a green background. Actually, no, I don't. Their green color isn't always great. I want a orange background to stand up. And then I'm going to go down to the next row, and I want a place for notes. So again, I want the H1, and I just want to say notes. And notes, I'm going to make bulleted field. So I'll start typing bulleted. I'm going to choose bulleted list, and voila. Now, if I stop there, what I'm going to find is that the list bullet is going to go away because it's empty, and I want this to stay as a placeholder. So I'm just going to put in type something here, just like the call out did automatically. And what else would I want in a research log? Well, in a research log, I want a list of tasks. And a list of tasks would be another table. So I'm going to slash and table. And here I have the choice between an inline table and a full page table. And this time I'm going to choose inline, and hopefully I'll be able to show you the difference. So I'm going to choose inline table because I want it actually in this page and in similar pages. And the table is going to be called tasks. I'm going to change the name field to task title, and it has to stay a text. And I want the task to have a status and a priority. Is there anything else I need the task to have? Oh, when did I do this task? So I'm going to say date, and then I'm going to pick from here, and I'm going to do a date field. What a date field will do is allow me to pop up a calendar that I can choose the date from, and that's for documenting the date I actually worked this task. The other thing I want, and I don't have to have it, but I wouldn't mind a checkbox that tells me I'm done with that task. So if I go to properties here, I can do checkbox. Okay, and I've got a nice little table. Now I'm going to make the status a selection list, and I'm going to make the priority a selection list, just like I did for the first table. I'm not going to populate them now. You get the idea. What I do want to show you is that you can add new columns at any time, and you can actually reorganize them. So even though I can't change task title, it doesn't have to be the first column in the table. So I'm going to drag done over, and I'm going to shrink it down some because I'm just going to check those boxes when this task is complete. And let's move, well, I think the rest of them are fine in the order that they're in. Now, I have the same problem here that I had on the first page, which is I have a list of tasks, but I really don't have any details about the tasks. So I'm going to go up here to the task title, and again, I'm invited to open a page because each row in each table is a page. So I'm going to open that, and I'm going to give this task a title. Now we're talking about identifying database land records in a database. I'm going to say identify land records in Ancestry. And I'm going to give it, let's see here. And I'll pause. Okay, you see I've got the page with the title of my task now, whereas the log is just identify land record databases. The task here is to identify land records at Ancestry. Now, if you remember, I wanted some other options on the task page, and it says press enter to continue with an empty page. So I'll do that. And what do I want? I want a heading again that is for objective. And let me do another call out. I liked that one before. Let's make this one, since it's different from the other one, let's make it purple. And I want my findings. Whoops. Yeah, that's not a block. H1 should be my findings. H1, and I create my header block is going to be findings. And I'm going to go to, let's go bulleted list again. I can always change it later if I don't like bulleted list. And let's just put a place saver there. And that's it for my task. Well, let's go up here and we'll give it an icon and we'll add a cover. That's Sir Walter Raleigh. We'll just do some fancy colors here. Boom. And now I've got my task page. So let's go back, all the way back to the research log page. You see the research log here. I have one log. Identify land record bases is kind of captures the intent. And if I go to that page, it shows a status of a priority of medium and a status of not started. I can type in an objective. Make a list of land record databases. And I can type in notes, and then I have the task. Identify, I only have one task so far, identify land records at Ancestry. So one of the things I might want to do is I want to add another task. So I'm just going to come down here. Now I could type right in here, and I'm going to open it as a page again. And what do you notice? Well, I have the status again, and I can choose from the list. By the way, I did go offline and build these lists out. Again, I had to do that. But I still have the drop-down list. I can set a date for when I worked it if I was ready. I'm not. And I got my checkbox for done, and I've got my priority, which will be medium. Status, let's say not started, and the checkbox. I'm trying to remember. Here we go. So if I click on the property, I can hide that property. The idea being that I don't necessarily need to see the checkbox on this page, so I'm going to hide it. And then I can always see it by clicking the hide property button. Matter of fact, let me move that to the top. Can I move that to the top? Let me move this one down. No, it's not letting me do that, but that's because this is a row in a table. You know, as I said before, I can give it a title, but there's nothing. Where is my objective? Where is my findings? I don't want to have to type that in every single time. That takes us to our next topic, which is templates. And we're back. And if you remember when we left off, we had built the raw materials of our log. And you can see here I've got my research log front page, if you will, and then I've got individual rows. If I click into any one of the individual rows, you see I have another page, which is one single research log. And it provides a description, field to enter the description, a field for some notes, and another table. And that table is for tasks. And if we drill down into tasks, we find that there's a page for individual tasks. And therein I can have my own objective for the task and a place to put my findings, whether it's in text or a table or whatever I want to do there. But the problem is that we left off with was if I go back and add another task, we're going to start here, and I'm just going to hit new, and it gives me a place to put a task title. So I'm just going to put task title, and yeah, leave the misspelling. And I hover over it and I look at the page. The page has our properties, or the column data, but it doesn't have any of the fields that the other page that we worked on so hard has. And that brings us to the topic of templates. Now, I'm going to delete these 3 rows so as not to clutter things up. And what I want to do, some of it I'm going to have to recreate. So I'm going to go up here to New, and I'm going to create a new template. Now the idea is that the template will represent a single row in the table, but it'll be reused every single time. So let me do that. You see here in the sand colored box, it says you're editing a template in tasks. Now I want to, well, you'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. I'm going to add an icon. I think we had a rainbow before, so let's find the rainbow. And I don't know what we had for the cover, but we'll pick something for the cover. I like that one. Give it a second. Okay, so this is going to be the template for all of our tasks. And what I'm going to title the template is, I'm going to call it task template. And the only reason I put it in brackets is because I saw somebody else do it. I'm going to have to recreate all of this field. That's going to be the fastest way to do this, is just to go ahead and recreate what we originally had. That is my template. Let me go ahead and open that as a page. So this is a page, but it's really a template page, and it says this at the top. Research log, log page. And I want to add a task. So I'm going to go up here. Now, if I click on this, I have the same problem. It's going to be an empty row, no formatting whatsoever. If instead I come up here to this new button, the blue one, and I select task template, now it takes me to the template page. You'll see the spinning thing. It's taken a second. It has recreated the page. Now, the title is blank, as we would expect, because I'm going to create a new title for this task. Let's say identify land records in American ancestors. And change the in to a at. And we'll just pretend I filled out the description, and later on I'll add the findings. And now I've got 2 tasks. I've got identify land records at American ancestors and identify land record databases on ancestry.com. And if I click down, you see it's my formatted page. Now we're only half done, because if you remember, I had the same problem at the research log level. If I add a new row here for a new research log, again, you see here, it's just adding an empty row. It's not taking into account all the work I did on that research log page. This is what we want to recreate. We got the book with the bookmark. We got this orangish thing. We've got a description, notes, and then we've got this task table. And that, believe me, is the tricky part. So what I'm going to do is I am going to click on Favorite. And this adds this page over here on the list as instead of being underneath the research log, it is a page of its own right here in my favorites list. And you'll see why I wanted to do that in just a moment. I'm going to go back to my research log, and I'm going to create a template for the front page. That's a new template. Okay, it says I'm editing a template, and I can open the template as a page. You see I'm still editing it as a template. And I can come down here, and you see the task table is kind of standing out on its own underneath this record. I can drag this over here, put it on my page, and voila, I've got my tasks. I'll delete those rows, but I've got my tasks in the template now, and you'll see the value of that in just a moment. I want to have that icon that we had before. I think it typed in book and got that one, and then I think we had an orangish background. I kind of liked that. And then what am I missing? I want to remove this row because it's a template. I'm going to add an H1, and it's going to be a description. And then I'm going to add a call out because that's what I did before. Interesting that it already populated it in the orange shade color. And then another H1. And notes, I'm going to start out as bulleted, but I can always replace it on the fly. And again, I'm going to seed it with something just to hold the place. And then we already have the tasks. It's just things are in the wrong order. So I'm going to move that up above tasks, move that up under description, move that up under the call out, and move that up there. Okay. Let's put a little bit of space there between the task table. Okay, I've got my template. If we come back to our front page, I'm going to say new, and I'm going to say research log template, and this one's going to be identify land records for David Thompson. Okay. And I'm going to assign it a priority of medium and a status of not started. And this time I'm going to enter a person. If you remember when I built this out the first time, I left that field empty. But now I'm interested in David Thompson. And to help me differentiate which one, his estimated birth date was 1756. And then I can add my description, find all land records, find all, let's do land records. Records for David Thompson in Guilford, New Hampshire. And I can add some notes. I think I showed you the notes that I had added before. And then when I want to add a task, I'm going to come here, select the task template, and the status again is not started, and nothing else really matters. So you see that what built out here was from the template. But the end result we were going for is a research log front page that allows me to have a table of research logs, and anytime I create a new row, it will create the row with the pre-populated configuration. It'll have my description, it'll have my place for notes, and have a place for tasks. And then if I want to add a task, it will use the template there, and we'll call it task 2 just for a place header. And I still got my properties, and I have my fields, and everything will be consistent from that point forward. This is my research log front page. When I look at the template, let's edit this template. Every time I get a new template, I have to fill out the priority, and I have to fill out the status. And what if I want defaults? Okay. Well, all I need to do is to select the defaults. I'll default the priority to medium and the status to not started. And if I do it in the template and then go back and choose from the template, you see it's already pre-populated with what I wanted. And I want to do the same thing for the tasks. So let me go down here and edit the task template and pre-populate status is not started. Now back on the front page here, what if I want to add some additional data to this front page? Maybe I want a description box. Maybe I want some a workspace, whatever. And if I try and click around, there really isn't. It really won't give me that place to add additional components, blocks, to this page. Why is that? I can do it on every other page. Well, that's because this isn't my research log page. This page represents the entire table. Really, this is my research log table. That's fine that I have a research log table that makes everything concise. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new page to be my front page and let the research log table kind of be hidden in the background. And you'll see why I want to do that in a moment. So I'm going to go over here and create a new page. And I'm going to say Genealogy Research Log. Okay, so I've got an empty page. I'm going to open it as a page. I'm going to give it an icon. And give it a nice, put that orange one back. Okay. Now this is going to become my new research log front page. I'm going to start with a description, with a call out. And I'm just going to say, this is my research log. And I can add other elements as I want to. Now, I do want to see the table from this section. So if I hit slash and type in table, you can see that I can create an inline table, which means the table is just for this page. Or I can create a full page table, which is what we did the first time we created my research log table. Slash link. And I can link to another page, but what I want to do is create, excuse me, create a linked database. So if I select that, it's going to ask me to pick my database, and I'm going to pick my research log table. And now you see that on this page, I now have the research log table. But really what it's doing is it's pointing to the my research log table full page over there. So these tables are almost identical. Now, one of the things I want to do here to give myself a little bit more room is I want to come up here to the three dots, and I want to say I want this page to be full width, and it moves everything over. If I add a row from here, let's add a new row. We'll just call it log 2. Give it a second to populate all this stuff. And I go back, here's my log 2. If I go back to my research log table, you see that log 2 is in the master table. I can even call this master research log table. Matter of fact, let's, to be clear. So here I can add a view, okay? And right now we have the table view, but I could change it to a gallery view. And now my research logs are being shown as tiles, or gallery boxes. And if I click on that, it takes me to the page. You can link to a table and then customize the view of that table. But more importantly, you can also add a filter to that table. Somewhere here, there we go. I want to create another H1, and what I'm going to say is general logs, and I'm going to put another one for person-centric logs. A little trick here, you see I forgot to do slash H1 or pick an H1 there. If I do slash turn H1, it'll turn this row into an H1 row. Okay, now I want to drag this down here, and I want to drag this down here. This is, the scroll bar here is because the table's wider than what I've got on the screen. Actually, if I shrink that all down, I can make that go away. Okay. For my general logs, I only want to see the rows that don't have a person. So I'm going to go over here to the three dots, and I'm going to select filter. And I'm going to add a filter. I only want rows where the person is empty. Okay? And that's my filter. And now I only see the rows where the person field is empty. What if I want to see the person log? Okay, so I'm going to select and do another linked table, a linked database. I'm going to choose the exact same table. You see I've got all my rows again now. But for this one, I'm going to create a filter. Add a filter. I just want to filter where the person field is not empty. Okay? And you see here that I've got my person-centric ones. You know, now I can do whatever customizations I want on this page, whether it's adding additional fields or adding different table views, or just getting a copy of the table. And maybe on this one, I don't want to display status. So let me see, I can come down here and do properties and just say, hey, I don't want to see the status on this one. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to delete the column. Because if you delete the column, and I go back to the master, it's gone. The status column is gone. And it's gone for all the rows. Okay? So I've lost all of my status fields. So anytime you want to hide a column on a specific table link or view, you have to go to the triple dots, choose properties, and then toggle what you want to hide and what you don't want to see. So for instance, let's show the date created, but there's no reason for me to have the person column showing on the general logs table. Okay? But I do want it showing here. Okay? So there's just a lot of customizations that you can do. And now I have on Notion an online research log that meets my needs. Hopefully you'll find this helpful, and let's go out and have some fun.